For the first time in over 2 decades, The Sims is no longer safe. It's not the only contender in the boxing ring of life simulation games. There is serious competition out there now. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. Forget Year of the Horse, 2026 is the year of the life sim game. And today I'm breaking down why the life sim genre is about to change forever. It wouldn't be a video about life sim games without talking about the one that started it all, The Sims. This game needs no introduction. She has well and truly earned her place in the genre. In fact, The Sims arguably started the genre altogether. However, it's not going to be like that forever. Born from a tragic incident, much like the chaos of the game itself, developer Will Wright came up with the idea of The Sims after the loss of his house due to a fire back in 1989. While he was in that horrible process of rebuilding his home and replacing his possessions, it made him think about adapting that life experience into a game. At first, Maxis were really hesitant to give the idea a chance. The Sims almost wasn't born at all. Now, that's a terrifying thought. Then EA came along and their board was much more interested and decided to give it a chance. And potential it had. The Sims was released in 2000 and by 2002 it had become the best-selling PC game of all time. People fell in love with the silly quirkiness and sometimes sinister oddities. Previously, games were all about winning, fighting and scoring points. The Sims was different. It was none of those things. It was just life, and people had total control over that life. You didn't need skills to play, just your imagination. Anyone and everyone could play this game. Then in 2004, Sims 2 was released. It introduced 3D, immersive environments, and fundamental lore that many of us know and love to this day. We got a genetic system and different life stages with memories and wants and fears to match. The neighbourhoods felt like seamless soap operas, and the world evolved with every round of play. Then in 2009, Sims 3 was released, and it was yet another massive step up, giving us the first full open world with cars and bicycles that you'd use to travel across town, or even walk just because you could. It had a collection system and just encouraged exploration. The world was continually alive and evolving. I would spend so much time picking a sim and following them around town like a stalker just to see them go about their daily routine, because it was just fascinating to me. For the first time, we also got story progression. Those sims would also move out, get married and have babies, all without you telling them to. Sims had dynamic traits and tons more aspirations, body sliders and the creator style tool. Even with all of its performance issues and many glitches, the game was revolutionary for the time. The intent to push the boat out and be the first and experiment was just absolutely evident. And this brings us to where we are today, The Sims 4. Released back in 2014 to very mixed reception, it is still going today almost 12 years later. Like all of the games in the franchise before it, it does have some progression. The creator sim and build mode features were a big advancement from Sims 3, but that is pretty much the extent of the improvements. When Sims 4 was released, it was missing open worlds. We had a closed world with a grey 2D map. The worlds were just filled with set dressing and you couldn't even move the existing lots. A lot of us thought this was some kind of mistake or demo. The game was also missing pools, toddlers, ghosts, family trees, wants and memories. Many beloved features were watered down like genetics and businesses. It was easy to take care of your Sims' needs and keep them happy. There was no challenge. And some of the features that they added still don't properly function now. We still don't have functional cars. Essentially, the game became a beautiful dollhouse and forgot about the life simulation aspect. Whether or not the missing content was intentional is debatable. Content seems to have been chopped up and sold separately into many packs. In order to buy the My First Pet Stuff pack, which includes hamsters and other small rodents, you have to have bought cats and dogs. And in order to have cats and dogs, you have to have Sims 4. Horses also take up an entire expansion pack, and whether we can really call it an expansion pack is debatable. All the occult types have been broken down into multiple separate packs too, when previously they were all in one. I must say, I think The Sims 4 have done occults very well. I really love the whole skill tree system. A lot of the occults are really fleshed out and they're actually quite fun to play with. However, my point remains. As of making this video, there are a total of 80 DLC for The Sims 4. Like I say, The Sims 4 does many things really well, but unfortunately EA have consistently shown that they prioritise profit over quality. The game is struggling to keep going with all of the content that just keeps getting piled on and on like a leaning tower. Just recently, an update has once again broken many people's save files, and I'm not just talking about the broken mods. All of the photos taken in-game of their many legacies have completely turned black and are unrecoverable. Imagine you've spent hundreds of hours in a save with generations of families, and you take massive pride in the photo room you have, and it's just gone. It's like a complete slap in the face. This has caused a lot of players to give up and stop playing until a fix is released, which won't be for another month. I'm fairly certain that this has been a bug in the game for a really long time. I remember this was one of the ones that made me stop playing the game. That and the infamous Groundhog Day bug. This is just a recurring pattern with The Sims 4. New content is added, literally month on month, and the game just keeps breaking and bugs aren't getting fixed. So The Sims 4 was allegedly originally supposed to be a multiplayer game. It was something called Project Olympus, which was actually designed to be an online game with light simulation in mind and the social aspect between players at the forefront. Back in 2013, EA had just released SimCity, which had a big online requirement. Unfortunately, it was a massive flop. The servers were failing and they removed the online aspect. At this point, Project Olympus was already well underway. It was supposed to be EA's next online multiplayer game. But EA panicked and thought, oh shit, we need to backpedal this. What's going to make us money? I know, Sims. And thus The Sims 4 was born. They needed to put something out quick, but they didn't have time to make a brand new game from scratch. So Project Olympus became Sims 4. And within a year, The Sims 4 was released. So Sims 4 is pretty much just a product of business strategy. As of late, it seems to be having an identity crisis. We were originally meant to be getting a new mainline title, Project Renee. This is now not the case. Project Renee is instead evolved to, according to EA, focus on social multiplayer play, offering a more direct way for friends to share creativity together. It is not the successor to Sims 4 and is a separate experience from any future deep, single-player life simulation experience. It introduces a new way to explore and play together within the growing Sims family of games, welcoming Simmers who want to connect directly with other players. So we're getting another mobile game. I swear Sims 5 is like a taboo subject in the EA offices. Mention Sims 5 and you're fired. Sims 4 will also unfortunately continue to receive content and updates alongside Project Renee, contrary to what many of us thought and hoped. There were a couple of rumours going around a few weeks ago that the Royalty expansion pack would be the final expansion pack for The Sims 4, so much so that EA even spoke out and said that there would be information revealed in the new year to clarify the rumours. So it appears that we'll be getting Sims 4 content forever. I know I sound really bitter here, but that's because I am, honestly. I love this franchise to death, and my sadness for the way this franchise has been handled just can't even be explained. In my opinion, the game just needs to be retired. It shouldn't have really ever happened in the first place. It does have some redeeming and impressive features, but it's just meh, in the words of LGR. It's a mark on the great legacy that is The Sims, and it's a terribly sad state of affairs to see what this once great game has become. So why have they done this? Well, simply put, when there's no competition, there's very little pressure to evolve. The Sims 4 keeps making the money because there's nothing else. However, EA are on borrowed time, as that is not going to be the case for much longer. Inzoi is an interesting entrance to the genre. It was released in early access in March 2025 by publisher Krafton, the creators of the game PUBG. The idea is that you, the player, are an employee for AR company whose job is to manage a neighbourhood of virtual people called Zois. It's described by the developers as a life simulation game where you can visualise stories of life with immersive, realistic graphics and deep, detailed simulation that creates unexpected occurrences. We can choose from 3 fully open worlds: Dowon, a modern urban city based on the real-life city of Seoul in South Korea; Bliss Bay, an American coastal city with a theme park; and Kahaya, a Southeast Asian holiday destination beside the sea. Inzoi is a hyper-realistic life sim with advanced Creator and build tools. This appeals to a lot of Sims players who might feel that the game is too goofy and cartoonish. Features like the built-in photo studio, canvas community, and real-time capture and face tracking allow players to create and shape highly personalised characters and stories. Active careers let you follow your Zoi throughout their working life rather than disappearing into a menu, while reputation-style social mechanics mean that relationships carry weight and consequences. Altogether, Inzoi's focus is on meaningful decision-making, where actions have impact rather than being instantly forgiven or forgotten. Although the world is extremely beautiful, many players complain that it has shallow gameplay. Zois have limited routines and there are few opportunities for rich stories. Common complaints are that interactions feel repetitive and planned rather than offering that deep, social, authentic simulation. Many have said that the game feels like a tech demo rather than an expansive, fully fleshed simulation. Worlds are filled with empty buildings you can't access and other set dressing that serves no functional purpose. There are no world editing or creation tools, so you're stuck playing in the same worlds, lots and buildings for all of your generations of families. The game released to a pretty poor reception and initially struggled to retain a decent player count. There was a lot of hype and pressure on the game, partly due to the entire sim situation, and it failed to deliver. I think the game should have been given another year in the oven to cook and really solidify what it has, because it does have a really strong foundation in my opinion. Yeah, the game's use of generative AI to create unique assets and styles was largely criticised at launch, but the team seem to be moving away from that now and giving the players tools to create things themselves. The game also does have many bugs and glitches, but that is to be expected as the game is in early access, which can't be said about The Sims 4 that's been around for 13 years now. I just mentioned there some of the key criticisms of Inzoi, but the truth is they aren't going to stand as true for much longer, if not already. Inzoi is really picking up. I'm genuinely impressed and excited for this game. The developers are working insanely hard to give the players the systems they're asking for, and I am really impressed at how transparent and community driven they are, right from the very top of the chain. If they have this attitude right at the top, the rest just falls into place. We are getting constant Discord updates and I struggle to keep up with them, which is a good thing. They are adding so much stuff, it's unreal. They recently added a crime and justice system with trials and courts, deeper personality with new characteristics, new skills, new property types, new ambitions and urges, group socialisation and multitasking, a whole business system, holiday and festival content, loads of quality of life stuff like number plates, breakable objects, crafting available at any surface, ragdoll physics for accidents, new animations, family interactions. The list literally goes on and on. There is so much that I want to talk about, but I just can't fit it into one video. And the stuff that they have planned for the coming months is even more crazy. They're planning a multiplayer aspect fittingly called Inzoi Online. They're planning social interactions, home visiting and events. We've also got Canvas Town, which is Inzoi's own custom world feature. It will give us a blank canvas to build whatever we want, so no fake buildings or cars. I recently made a video going into detail on that if you're interested. To combat the complaints of shallow gameplay, they're also planning a feature called the Fate Engine, which is basically designed to add purpose and replayability by randomly generating unique life setups, challenges and goals, like starting rich or in a haunted house for your characters, providing a structured core gameplay loop with rewards and progression through varied life stories. We've also got script mods coming later in the year, a memory system and gradual removal of the set dressing with real buildings that you can actually go in. So there is a ton planned. I haven't even begun to cover it all. It seems like it's going to be a multi-purpose game with different modes / ways to play, and I'm really genuinely excited to see how it pans out because I think this could quietly become serious competition. My only concern is the potential for them to stretch themselves too thin and end up with a bunch of average features with none excelling. I would hope that's not the case though, as going by the rate they're churning out quality actually requested content, they aren't struggling for resources. People have really underestimated it, myself massively included there, but I think this could be a big name in the space. It will just take some time to build up that trust again. And of course, it wouldn't be a life simulation video without talking about Paralives. This is my personal favourite of the current options we have. Paralives is being developed by indie Canadian studio Paralives. It's been in development since 2019, crowdfunded largely by Patreon. It's releasing in May this year and is currently one of the most wishlisted games on Steam, having 1 million wishlists, which is absolutely insane for an indie game. It just shows the demand for a game like this. It's really hard to describe Paralives actually because it is, in my opinion, quite unique and not really like anything else. Sitting down to write this script I actually struggled because I'm definitely biased towards this game and want to do it justice. So Paralives is an indie single-player life sim designed around creative freedom, modding and long-term sandbox play. Rather than chasing hyper-realism or multiplayer, Paralives is very clearly designed around modding, long-term gameplay and letting players shape their own stories. It's like the spiritual successor to classic sim-style gameplay, but with modern tools and fewer corporate constraints. It's got a really lovely, stylised, cosy art style, and this isn't for everyone, of course, and at first I was unsure about it, but it really grew on me and I love it. Alex Mass, the lead dev for the game, has described Paralives as being 3 main pillars designed to work together in a balanced way. You've got build mode, Paramaker, and the simulation aspect. This is perhaps what is quite impressive. The team have really aimed to go out on all 3 parts. Firstly, we'll have fully open worlds that we can customise as much as we wish. Lots can be dragged and placed anywhere, next to each other, or in isolation. We'll be able to create our own worlds and build anything anywhere. Speaking of which, the build mode is extremely advanced, including placing walls at any angle and curvature, gridless construction of objects and object placement, split levelling, basements, pools, in-depth roof tools and terrain modification. Objects like windows and beds and sofas can easily be dragged with the mouse to extend or shrink them. I personally love this little clothesline detail, which changes visually as you drag it. The game is filled with thoughtful little details like this. Objects can also be stacked on top of each other and combined to create whatever you want. The possibilities are truly actually endless. It feels like every corner of the game has been touched and made with such love and care. The character creation system, known as the Paramaker, is designed to be both powerful and intuitive. Much like Inzoi in The Sims, players directly manipulate their character's body and face in real time, stretching and shaping proportions naturally. Clothing can be layered and mismatched, and we also have the colour wheel back. We've got a complex genetic system much like Sims 2 that follows real-life genetics, including height differences and multifaceted personalities. There's in-depth, complex and social dynamics. We've got relationship labels and one-sided relationships. They're also planning things like boats, houseboats, dogs, cats, horses, story progression, weather systems and many, many more features. Paralives has been likened to Sims 2 in a lot of ways, and it's not hard to see why. It has a clear, strong focus on creating rich, meaningful stories and many fleshed out features with little details. The game is also designed to be very moddable as a whole, with modding features built into the game itself, really emphasising the idea of a limitless creative space for all kinds of players. Paralives hasn't escaped criticism though. There has been a lot in recent months about the lack of live mode we've seen, and the team have really responded to this. We've now seen a live mode stream, with more planned. The game did end up being delayed after being originally set for release in December 2025, with the team citing the lack of live mode and the bugs being a large reason. They've already made great strides though. The live mode stream we got recently showed a major improvement in the simulation front. Myself and the team are confident that the game won't be delayed again. I do think we need to start seeing more gameplay though, especially as we get closer to release, and I think this needs to be family gameplay in my opinion. I think this game is going to go crazy in May. People have been desperate for a very customizable life sim with the foundations being deep. It is in my opinion the true definition of a sandbox. However, people do need to keep in mind that the team are small, they aren't a big studio like EA with billions of pounds behind them, so what they've achieved is nothing short of incredible. We'll just have to be patient and allow it space to grow. There is also something else happening in this genre that I think is really important to mention. Across various sources, there are multiple life simulation games currently in development that aren't publicly known yet. Right now, I can't really analyse them in detail because there simply isn't enough confirmed information about them, but I can say that there are more on the horizon following behind Paralives and Inzoi. I think in a couple of years we'll look back on 2026 as the year that started a fresh wave of life simulation games, a turning point in the genre. I truly believe that the genre is facing a point where anything could happen. The Sims is kind of at the forefront for now, as everyone is watching and waiting to see what will happen there. Will EA save the game, or will it be game over? Paralives and Inzoi are coming in hot from behind, both offering unique and progressive takes on the genre, and who knows what other games we'll see coming in the future. But it's the end of the monopoly. No matter what happens, I'll be here covering it all and trying to understand and interpret what's going on. The next few months are going to be very busy, so I certainly have my work cut out for me. But I'm determined to do all of these games justice and provide you all with accurate, up-to-date information, because this genre really means so much to me and I want to handle it with care. As always, please let me know what you guys think. What game are you most looking forward to? Are you excited about all of them? Do you disagree? Thank you so much for watching. I am truly so grateful for all of your support. It just continues to blow me away, and it just pushes me to improve every single day in the content that I'm putting out. I hope you have a wonderful day whatever you're up to, hopefully life simming, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!